And while we enjoy the last strains of Pana Rhythm, I invite you to move closer to your seats at this time as we get set to transition into the next part of our time together this evening. and gentlemen, please stand at attention for the singing of the Jamaican National Anthem.
Eternal Father, bless our land. Guide us with thy mighty hand. Keep us free from evil powers. Be our light through countless hours. To all leaders, great defender, grant true wisdom from above. Justice, truth, be ours forever. Jamaica, land we love. Jamaica, 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 land we love. Teach us true respect for all. Stir response to duty's call. Strengthen us the weak to cherish. Give us vision lest we perish. Knowledge send us, Heavenly Father. Grant true wisdom from above. Justice, truth, be ours forever. Jamaica, land we love. Jamaica, 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 land we love.
Good evening, all. I am Paula Ann Porter-Jones, and I am a past student and forever family of the CARIMAC. And if you are here with us this evening, that means that you are also a part of this family in one way, shape, or form. It is therefore a pleasure to have you with us for this dedication and unveiling ceremony of the Caribbean School of Media and Communication. This, in essence, our time together, is a time to honor the space between no longer and not yet. To deliver the official welcome, I ask you to help me welcome to the microphone at this time, well, to ask the Lord's blessings on our proceedings before we deliver the official welcome. I ask you to help me welcome to the microphone one who is a master's student of CARIMAC, direct family. That is Reverend Asta Carlisle, pastor of the Webster Memorial United Church.
Let us go to God in prayer. Let us pray. Eternal and most holy God, you are the power behind all things, behind the energy of the storm, behind the heat of a million suns. You are the power behind all minds and the ability to think and to reason, behind all understanding of truth. You not only place unique gifts and abilities within our lives, but you weave us into your tapestry of grace, inviting us to partner with you in the building up of our world. Hallowed be your name. We thank you for the University of the West Indies and its several faculties of innovation, connection, and transformation. In particular, we thank you for sustaining the efforts of CARIMAC over these many years. On this day when its name is changed to the Caribbean School of Media and Communication, may those who lead and are served by it not only catch a glimpse of the hopeful future that you have for our region and our world, but grant that with deep commitment and sure conviction, they may be the embodiment of that hopeful future. Since without you we can do nothing well, grant to the leadership, staff, and students continued insight and inspiration, dedication and direction, so that through their efforts your kingdom of justice, peace, and love will come, and your will be done on earth as it is in heaven, through Christ our Lord. Amen.
Thank you, Reverend Carlisle. CARIMAC is known across the region and indeed across the world for having produced excellent broadcasters, excellent persons working in media and communications. It has been led over the years by various persons, but the gentleman currently in charge of the family is Professor Hopton Dunn. Please help me welcome him to the microphone at this time, Director of CARIMAC, Professor Hopton Dunn.
Ladies and gentlemen, friends all, good evening. Say that again, I know I'm a little distant. Good evening. Thank you. Let me welcome you to this special milestone event in the history of CARIMAC. I welcome you to the dedication and unveiling ceremony for the Caribbean School of Media and Communication, still to be called CARIMAC, but I am so pleased about having this new name to call the institute, so I'm going to call it another time, the Caribbean School of Media and Communication. It's been a long time that we have wanted special colleagues from the UWI regional headquarters, the persons of Mr. and Ambassador Richard Bernal, who is the Pro-Vice Chancellor for Global Affairs, but also a former lecturer at CARIMAC. Can we welcome them, please? We warmly welcome Professor Ishenkumba Kawa, Deputy Principal, UWI Mona Campus, who is no stranger to CARIMAC, who has been a strong support for the work of CARIMAC in the central authorities of the university. Yes, please. I want to welcome our colleagues from the faculty and also from the Office of Graduate Studies and Research. I think Professor Eldemire Shearer is here. I also want to welcome Dr. Harrison, who is the Deputy Dean of Austin Union, a former student here at CARIMAC, and a good friend of mine from our days as Assistant Executive Director of the Broadcasting Commission. It's my pleasure to welcome her. Let us give Sonia a very warm welcome. I also want to specially welcome two colleagues who have been with CARIMAC from the very start, but in differing capacities. Firstly, I refer to Professor Emeritus Sir Roy Auger, who is here with us. Very happy to have you, Prof. He, along with Professor Nettleford, taught so many of us and so many cohorts of students history, politics, and culture of the Caribbean. Many of us can remember that course. And he has remained a friend and close associate here of CARIMAC. And the second person, here from the very beginning, 43 years ago, is Mrs. Alma Mokien. Alma, very much there. She was here in the capacity of one of the students in the first cohort of 31 mass comm students with our CARIMAC. And we are very happy to have you. I don't know if any of our other original students may be present, but we are surely happy to welcome you, Alma. Two other colleagues in particular in that kind of long-standing capacity, Franklin Sondros Chappie and Mr. Mel Blake. They have both been at CARIMAC for as long as anyone can remember. And we want to make sure that we welcome them. As we do, our two former directors, Dr. Canute James and Dr. Marjon De Bruyne, both here to represent the continuity that we have had over the years. And we also have members of the media fraternity, as well as colleagues from other educational institutions. I believe we have represented here persons from NCU, from UTEC, from IUC, from the CPTC MTI, from the Edna Manley College, among others. We are very happy to have you. And last but by no means least, I want to welcome our own CARIMAC staff members, students, family members, friends all, to this particular and very special occasion. I took some time to extend the welcome because CARIMAC is built on partnerships. We don't get anything done until and unless we work as partners with a whole range of persons. It is with your support that we have been able to observe this special occasion, to support CARIMAC's work over these many years, and to look forward to carrying it forward in the years to come. Friends, the designation of CARIMAC as the Caribbean School of Media and Communication, as I indicated, is a landmark event to which our staff and all previous recent directors aspired. It sets us a wider institutional framework in which to continue our national, regional, and global outreach, and to step up our contribution and growth on global and regional spheres on behalf of the university and on behalf of the people of the Caribbean. The measure of this moment is not just in the considerable transformation that we have already been able to achieve all together here at CARIMAC, but it is also about where we will be next. In this new framework in which we will be operating, CARIMAC will seek out new international accreditations for our special technical programs. We will reach out to establish a stronger physical presence within the Eastern Caribbean and elsewhere. We will prepare new graduates and undergraduate courses, including courses in social media marketing, as well as in sports commentary and analytics, among others. We will transform more of our graduate programs into dual-mode delivery, combining face-to-face with a higher proportion of online. We will offer the already approved master's degree in media management, which is to be delivered in association with the Mona School of Business and Management. We will grow our Western Jamaica programs by adding the diploma program to new courses that we plan to offer there, and we will maintain and expand our academic reach and outreach and output with the launch of a new regional academic journal of communication, working closely with our local, regional, and international training institutions and scholars. As we seek, and I'm glad PVC and other representatives of the campus and the university are present to hear me say that as we seek new buildings, and state-of-the-art facilities for the new school on the campuses, CARIMAC, the school, will continue to transform our students into the global level educated and competent professionals that we all desire. We commit to help to make them and to help to make the rebranded institution worthy of global leadership, institutional leadership in the sector, in our society, and in the wider region. Thank you very much for joining us on this special occasion and for your support, not only for now, but also for the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Dunn. As we've heard from the head of the entity, some insight into understanding the heart of the entity. We move through the program, not to the next item in line. Unfortunately, Murphy is also enrolled here occasionally. So we're going to shift down to the item after that, which requires my inviting the Deputy Principal of the UWI Monocampus to the stage at this time. Please help me to welcome, to bring a message on behalf of the Principal, Professor Aishankamba Kawa. Thank you. You are welcome.
Okay. Thank you very much, Master of Ceremonies. I do know that all the dignitaries have been acknowledged, but please allow me to acknowledge a few persons, and certainly starting with the Director of CARIMAC, Professor Hopton Dunn, and I see our colleagues from the Center of PVC Banal and Bina Israel. Our guest speaker, welcome. And there are a number of other distinguished persons in the audience that I would like to draw your attention to. Certainly, Professor Roy Auger has been mentioned, and I saw him here. Good evening, sir. And we also have students of CARIMAC. We don't have CARIMAC if we don't have students. And the staff, of CARIMAC, as well. Good evening, each and everyone. Good evening. Good evening. Let me apologize on behalf of the principal who had wanted to come, but is unable to do so, and asked me to come and bring his greetings, which I very happily, accepted. So on behalf of the University of the West Indies, it is my distinct pleasure to welcome you to this evening's rebranding ceremony of CARIMAC. In one of the most significant transitions that have taken place for the UWI in our most recent history, today we celebrate the national and regional rebranding of one of the most renowned higher learning institutions for media and communication studies. The newly renamed Caribbean School of Media and Communication, which was formerly an institute, has paved the way in media and mass communication studies within the region. CARIMAC has become the benchmark in higher education in media, training hundreds of our region's most distinguished and reputable journalists and communications professionals. For many, to say that you graduated from the distinguished CARIMAC was indeed a badge of honor, one which was competitive and selective, as well as yielding outstanding results. The graduates produced by this institute were not only polished, eloquent speakers and writers, but also individuals who were knowledgeable in a wide array of national, regional, and global issues, ranging from arts and culture to politics. Transitioning from an institute that first awarded diplomas 43 years ago to a school that now awards several Bachelor of Arts, Bachelor of Fine Arts, Master of Philosophy, and doctoral degrees is an outstanding accomplishment and a testament to the exceptional leadership and dedication of the academic and administrative teams in building this school. The restructuring of the school has facilitated a shift in its academic profile from being a dedicated school of journalism to one which instructs on animation, film and television production and direction, public relations, and marketing. Their work now offers a full complement of educational offerings for any aspiring student seeking to engage in any and all facets of media communication and production. With this truly diversified suite of degree programming, CARIMAC has once again placed itself at the forefront of higher education in such a specialized field. This restructuring of the school will not only entice many from within our shores to seek learning opportunities here, but it will also encourage both our regional and international neighbors to seek our degree programs within this school. This will thus boost its academic status internationally as well as that of the UWI. It is in this vein, ladies and gentlemen, that I must congratulate the school's director, Professor Hopton Dan, its amazing academic team, and its outstanding administrative staff for their dedication and exceptional service to building the Caribbean School of Media and Communications into what it is today. This is certainly a legacy that we must all be proud of. The campus is exceedingly pleased to see the success of one of our most valued schools being lauded and recognized in this manner, and I'm additionally honored to witness such a monumental transition for the school. I implore all of you to continue on this path of success so that this school will maintain its status as the Caribbean's leading school for media and communication studies. Thank you all for joining us, and do enjoy the rest of the evening.
Thank you, Professor Kawa. We are to be joined by our Minister of Education and Information, Senator the Honorable Ruel Reid, as is noted on your program. Unfortunately, he is detained, and as he is not yet with us, we will move to the next item on the program. Now, this gentleman is not a student of CARIMAC, not a lecturer of CARIMAC, but he's a neighbor of CARIMAC. He's from Augusttown, which happens to be the name of his debut album, which he followed up with two more, Black Gold, Dangerously Roots, and we invite him to bring his message that is gold to the microphone at this time. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Dwayne Stevenson.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Well, thank you very much. I see, all your beautiful clothing and everything. And it's kind of hard to really, you don't want to expose yourself looking so beautiful. But, we are here. My name is Dwayne Stevenson, as, was told before, and I'm from the community of Augusttown. I can say that I've benefited much from CARIMAC in many different ways. Many friends that came through here, of course, they've always been setting the standard for broadcasting, young people in broadcasting especially, and it's a wonderful thing. You know what I mean?
As they journey along life's road, better tomorrow, tomorrow, better tomorrow. tomorrow, tomorrow. Better days will come one day, but when it comes, it's here to stay. Better tomorrow, tomorrow, tomorrow will be beautiful. Oh, tomorrow will be beautiful. Tomorrow will be beautiful. Tomorrow will be beautiful. Oh, tomorrow. Cottage in the green, I wrote these lines to you. Oh, and from a little cottage in the green, baby, I realize I love you still. From a little cottage in the green, way down resting in here. Oh, this man sits, he sits pining for your love. I'm Jimmy, I miss you. Now my lips wanna kiss you. I call you on the phone. To my surprise, you were not home. But from my lips, I've got to give you great news. Yes, I know these lies to you, baby. If all I did to get you great I realize I know you still. I'm gonna speak to you. It's all good to the Sunday night. Smoking sense of Sunday time. Oh, burning up them champagne. But I go west towards sunset and the before I get to cottage in the great. Yes, I know these lines say, baby. Yes, I wrote these lines to you. From a little cottage in the green, I realize I love you. I love you. Yes, I love you. In life, our journeys, shape us. And in music, it's not much different, So this song I wrote when I was 14 years old, attending Tivoli Garden Comprehensive High School, and it has transcended, and it's been a part of my evolution. Scarl, get up here, when you feel it. Song searching for our identity. While man says that we're a menace to society, but they don't know what it's like, what it's really like, what it's really like to face real guilt and pain, to face real guilt and pressure, real guilt and pain, real guilt and pressure. On and on we go, our heads we try to uphold. Oh, our brothers turn to cry, fighting each other for a dime. And while the oppressors them say, oh, turn into politics, it's the only way. Oh, we'll get to go. Yes, we get to push. Oh, we get to pay. We get to push. Yeah. It's a kind of play. Oh, one day, the table will turn. Woman out there, we were full of bias, we on and on we go. I guess we tried to avoid, brothers turn to cry, fighting each other for a dime. Oh, while the oppressors them say that turning to politics, oh yes, it's the only way. Oh, we get to pray, because we get to push. Oh, we get to pray, oh, we get to push. Oh, we get to pray, because we get to push. Oh, we get to pray. Oh, we get to push. Oh, we get to pray. Because we get to push. We get to pray. We get to push. We get to pray.
Thank you very much. It's such a happy audience. I wish I could be here all night. But, I only have one more song left. And, I'm doing, my identity in music is doing series from Augustown. It's what everybody knows me by. That's basically what I am. And this song is called Augustown. I hope you feel it as much as I felt it when I was writing it. Blessings.
Remember that charge us by your side. For I was a soul that was lost, and my life was in dismay. For among evil forces in which I played, were guns and ammunition, were my chosen way of life. With God-fearing people I chose to strike. But all of the lives that I've taken, it can never be replaced. But still, Judge, I chose to remember my face. For I never lived like he wanted. I was mindful of what he told. Oh, no, what they done be, I'm not bending these. rescued me, and I've got the scars to show. I barely made it along this road. Oh, when my life got dark, I was the only spark, the light at the end of the road. When I was a young boy, growing up in Augustown, we up from the same pot, we were engines all around. Yeah. From Gola to Cola, Rockers to Jungle Cove Tire, Brazil to Dreadites and River, all around, all around. And then the football ground became a battlefield, and my life seemed so surreal. People there were falling all around, but Jah helped me to stand my ground. Only Jah could have helped me to stand my ground. For I never lived like he wanted, I was mindful of what he did. So now I beg and plead, I'm in my wedding days, 'cause Father, you rescued me, and I've got the scars to show. I barely made it along this road. Even my life got dark, Jah was the only spark, the light at the end of the road. Na 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 na. Oh na 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 na. Before I go, let me introduce you to Denver. The drums, professionals. Conrad on saxophone. The boss Duke, royalty. And guitar. And of course, Will Johnson. Thank you. Oh yeah! Well, I've lived and learned. I've made mistakes along the way. Now I beg for forgiveness each day as I try to pray. But take it from me, son, you can change the world today. 'Cause I'm living proof that crime doesn't pay. For I never lived like he wanted, I was mindful of what he taught. So now I beg and plead, I'm on my bended knees. Oh Father, you rescued me, and I've got the scars to show. I barely made it on my soul. When my hand got dark, I was the only spark, the light at the end of the road. I never lived like he wanted, mindful of what he taught. So now I beg and plead, I'm on my bended knees. Father, you rescued me, you've got the scars to show. When I made it on this road, when my life got dark, you were the only spark, the light at the end. Na 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 na. Oh, na 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 na.
Dwayne Stevenson. And when you think of all the messages in his songs and in his music, you understand that he's a student of communication in a different kind of way. Once again, a round of applause, please. At this time, thank you. At this time, we invite to the lectern Dr. Livingston White, a lecturer here at CARIMAC, as he introduces a very special guest speaker. Can you welcome Dr. White?
Thank you, Paula. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm so pleased to be with you tonight and to have the chance to introduce our guest speaker, Sonia Gill. I first met Sonia Gill some 20 years ago when she taught me as an undergraduate student in CARIMAC in 1994 the course Media Skills, MC15A. I remember arriving late for class one morning and trying to enter the lecture room without being noticed, and Miss Gill, in her broadcast announcer voice, "So glad you could join us." I was never late for class after that. We enjoyed our classes, Miss Gill. For many of us, we were learning for the first time how to write a news story. And after all that red ink on our assignments, we did learn that and much more. Sonia Gill is a lexophile. I still remember words like schadenfreude. She would come to class on a weekly basis and write a new word, a word on the board that the class didn't know, obviously. And I still remember words like schadenfreude. That means the malicious delight in other people's misfortune. Miss Gill taught us that we should never engage in schadenfreude. Those were the little life lessons we learned from Miss Gill. So imagine how we felt when we heard that she was leaving CARIMAC. One of our favorite lecturers was going to be working at the Broadcasting Commission of Jamaica, a position she held for over a decade, moving from assistant to acting executive director. Before that, Ms. Gill began her media career at the Caribbean Broadcasting Corporation in Barbados, where she won the Barbados Association of Journalists Radio Journalist of the Year Award. After her years as a student and part-time lecturer at CARIMAC and her time at the Broadcasting Commission of Jamaica, she became Assistant Resident Representative and Governance Advisor of the United Nations Development Program Office in Jamaica for the next 5 years. In 2014, she became Secretary General of the Caribbean Broadcasting Union. In addition to her work as broadcast journalist, media regulator, development practitioner, Ms. Gill is also an attorney at law. She attained an honors degree in law at the University of London and qualified to practice at the Norman Manley Law School. And in 2005, she was called to the bar in Jamaica, and in 2014 was enrolled to practice in Barbados. So tonight, given her regional perspective and her career-related experiences, Ms. Gill will help us to recognize the role that a newly formed Caribbean School of Media and Communication will have to play, considering the challenges that continue to affect our media and communication professionals across the region. As we celebrate CARIMAC's transition to a School of Media and Communication, we are pleased that one of our very successful graduates will be addressing us tonight. So I'm most honored and I would be grateful, ladies and gentlemen, if you could help me welcome someone who I know is going to inspire us tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Sonia Gill.
I'm not sure if I should thank Livy or if I should say something else, but my heart is touched. May I be permitted to accept and adopt all of the acknowledgments made earlier this evening of our very special guests here tonight. I am overwhelmed with the occasion, and I would not want to miss out on any of the most important persons who have joined us. I do want to make special mention, though, of my friend and our MC for this evening, Mrs. Pauline Porter-Jones. Being here this evening takes me back. It takes me back to a July in 1988. I made my way from the Hall of Residence just over there, across what is now a car park. At that time it was a grassy area. And I came face to face with the mural that's on our left. I fell in love. But we're not going to talk about my romantic life in 1988 right now. The CARIMAC mural signified for me not just the various specializations of the sector in which I was currently making my living. To me, it was also the ideal representation of how life, for us, as an inherently gregarious species, is reliant on communication, and how the sector in which I had decided to spend my professional life mattered. And this institute, as it was then, appeared the perfect venue for me to advance in my career, and more importantly, to make a contribution to the region that became the focus of my life, world, and affairs. 2 years later, grateful for a Barbados National Development Scholarship, I became an undergraduate and benefited from a visionary administration of the faculty under then Dean Joe Pereira and of this institute. And those leaders allowed me something that I couldn't imagine. They actually allowed me to accelerate my degree. I took 7 courses at a time instead of the usual 5, and I was able to complete the degree in 2 years and return to Barbados. But I'll tell you, despite the heavier than usual course load, I enjoyed the whole array of intra- and extramural activities offered by this university and by the Institute. I'm sure peers of the early 90s will agree. You remember the CARIMAC end-of-year party? That was it. The socializing, the development of lifelong friendships, the classes, tutorials, and practical sessions were all part of a very precious time spent here as a student. For me in particular, the sense of regional camaraderie, which UWI was established to cement, felt strongest here at CARIMAC, with classmates from as far south as Guyana, as far west as Belize, all the way in the north in the Bahamas, and they made room for a small island girl hailing from the easternmost Caribbean nation of Barbados. With our intermingling accents and co-joined efforts, we were a Caribbean team, united in our aim of changing the world, in gaining and offering understanding. We were coached by media and academic icons, such as John Maxwell, Professor Rex Nettleford, Professor Auger, in an institute directed by the inimitable Professor Agri Brown, where we sought, you remember, we sought to understand and implement a new paradigm. As special as my relationship is with the current director, Professor Dunn, he will admit it was Professor Brown of blessed memory who was my original academic mentor and who you succeeded. He spurred me to identify social justice and the good of the people of the Caribbean as a right aim for a broadcast journalist to seek to promote. I remain grateful to him and to this institution. I later was honored to become a member of the CARIMAC adjunct faculty while pursuing graduate studies under Professor Brown's academic supervision. To be identified as a guest lecturer here was a great honor. And it's in the latter role that I found my highest satisfaction. Some frustration, as Dr. White told you, but overall, much, much joy. The seasoned professionals of the diploma program, the sparkling intellects fresh from high school, adjusting to a degree program, and my faculty colleagues all became my teachers. I was and I continue to be inspired by them all, but particularly by the students, especially those who juggled family and work and volunteering and study and more. Observing and interacting with those students provided all the empirical evidence I could ever need of the quality of our Caribbean minds and capacities. Not that we should be seeking external validation, but it's been proven again and again. Our Caribbean media and communications professionals can perform anywhere in the world. And while there's much to critique, and therefore much work for CARIMAC yet to do, there's also much to celebrate. And so, after continuous association in various roles for nearly 2 decades, I stepped away from CARIMAC, except in treasured guest lecture opportunities, until today's signal honor was bestowed on me to offer these thoughts at the transition to a school of communication. As a region, the Caribbean constantly performs well in the various annual indices measuring enjoyment of the fundamental communication rights, access to information, and freedom of expression. The Reporters Without Borders Press Freedom Index of 2017 places Jamaica at number 8, Suriname at number 20, and that's ahead of Canada, as well as Trinidad and Tobago at 34, and the OECS at 38. And both of those are ahead of the United Kingdom at 40. And in case you're trying to recall, the US came in at number 43, which is unsurprising given recent events in the American media landscape. We shall speak more of that anon. But in media and communication, as in our music, our art, our athletics, and much, much more, in the Caribbean, we punch far above our weight. Our nation's achieving and maintaining these freedom of information rankings with such a short history of independence, I believe, is remarkable and laudable. It's bolt-like speed when you consider the situation in 1974 when this institute was originally established. I think of that first class of diplomates, your classmates, Alma, pictured on CARIMAC's Facebook page, and Alma's very active in Facebook. Many still going strong in media leadership nationally, regionally, and internationally. And they've been joined by waves of diploma, bachelor's, master's, and doctoral graduates going on to careers as print journalists, television directors, marketers, advertising executives, policy analysts, filmmakers, media regulators, and of course, academia. Now, this is despite the fact that media careers are growing increasingly difficult and sometimes deadly. CareerCast's annual jobs rated report for 2017 ranks 200 jobs across a variety of sectors using key metrics of growth outlook, income, environmental conditions, and stress. Of its 10 worst jobs for 2017 in the United States, number 1 was newspaper reporter. Number 2 was broadcaster, and there are more media jobs in the worst 10. Disc jockey at 6, advertising sales at 7. For comparison, please note, enlisted military personnel stood at number 4. According to the latest data from Reporters Without Borders, 74 journalists were murdered last year worldwide, most of them targeted specifically because of their profession. Now, while we are grateful that there are no recent reported deaths of Caribbean media workers directly due to their work, there is no question that in this region, attacks are a feature of the sector, both physical and virtual. And I could recount experiences of Caribbean journalists, particularly women, who have been targeted online and in person because of their investigative work. Today's event comes at a particularly dynamic time in an already dynamic sector. Globally, the media industry is experiencing what's described as a rapid digital shift, being driven in part by the growing number of connected consumers, the expansion of mobile telephony, and elevated mobile broadband adoption. As this continues, it will not only expand the digital share of the media wallet, but have a structural effect on almost all media subsectors, redefining business models. Another major shift is the rise of global content intermediation and integration as leading social networking platforms, both personal and professional, provide videos, music, and news from outside sources directly to their users. They hope that aggregating and integrating additional content will boost their consumer interactions and change consumption patterns. But the sustainability of our Caribbean media sector is now at status of embattled because of these developments, and we have serious questions to ask ourselves. With major changes in media use practices and audience fragmentation, the time of centralized, state-owned and financed media is passing, if not ended. And for the commercially owned and operated media, the inevitability of technological change and competition from user-created content requires a new business model. And I believe CARIMAC continues to play a key role in equipping our regional media to not only survive these changes, but to go on and thrive. And please be assured, our media can thrive. If there wasn't value in our regional sector, global heavyweights like Digicel, Hurley Media, Liberty Global wouldn't be acquiring and investing heavily as they are right now. After all, report after report has shown that the Caribbean indigenous and diaspora creative industries represent significant economic and social value with the right investment and exploitation. But where are we in this process of unlocking this value? I would want to posit not very far. Our young filmmakers are scratching for resources to manifest their visions. Newsrooms are recruiting fewer and fewer experienced and qualified practitioners. Radio feature production units are closing, while stations rely on software for music scheduling. Analog television services are unable to identify the resources to transition to digital, even as existing equipment becomes obsolete. And particularly heartbreaking for me, the Caribbean Media Corporation, a subsidiary of the CBU, struggles to fulfill its mandate as an authentically Caribbean, pan-regional news and program service. In CARIMAC, publications such as the seminal Talking with Whom have long mapped out the ways in which our communication sector can advance the economic, social, and cultural development of our region. But what we have not addressed sufficiently is the sustainability of our communication system, and particularly for it to generate and retain the profits that can be enjoyed. As I proposed before, it is time for a change in the primary role of the state in our media sector. I believe the role should be generating consultatively policy and providing a defined amount of funding of public service content production made available via multiple channels, free-to-air, subscription services, print and digital. I don't say this is a panacea, but what I do say is it's one of the necessary elements. And it will require, as Grenada's Prime Minister said at the CBU Assembly in 2015, that regional governments get out of the media business. Our Caribbean communications sector does need support, but it needs the support of entities like CARIMAC, continuing to serve through education of communications academics and practitioners, including media business professionals. Professionals who understand international and regional markets and have networks and know-how to assist with identifying areas of value within our media sector in a manner that can allow it to survive and move into the black. I believe one of the obvious capacity gaps is in the deal spotters and the deal makers who can understand, design, and implement locally relevant business models relevant to us in the region. I see a continued and increased relevance of CARIMAC in producing our professionals in the creative, the journalistic, the media management, and other areas, but we also need to start seeing suits coming out of CARIMAC. If we recognize and act to fill this need, among others, I see not only viable public service media serving our Caribbean peoples, but also a profitable media industry delivering our unique and appealing content worldwide. I offer these thoughts to you, and let me close by saying, being here this evening has been a joy and an honor. Professor Dunn, you already know, despite my degrees from other institutions, CARIMAC remains dear to my heart as my alma mater. I thank all of you for your kind attention, and I wish for our new School of Communication continued success from my heart.
From her heart, and we proudly say from our halls. Ladies and gentlemen, what a fabulous guest speaker. I think she is the epitome of the contribution of CARIMAC and also the promise of what is to come, the potential of the school. Thank you so much, Sonia Gill. At this time, we ask you to slide back on your programs just a bit to where we have the presentation, CARIMAC in Perspective. It is a video, a brief video that we will play at this time. Please note that while the program says narrated by Mr. Errol Lee and Ms. Faye Ellington, you may notice a difference in the voice. Enjoy.
And the region's leading institution for the education and training of media and
Nestled in a quiet corner of the picturesque Mona campus is the building that represents the public face of CARIMAC today. Verging on the southern extremity of the historic Mona Aqueduct, the main CARIMAC building is neighbor to the UWI Chapel, the Mona Visitors Lodge, and the Philip Sherlock Center for the Creative Arts. A beautiful mural enhances the approach to the building, with historic monuments sheltered beneath the spreading guangu trees.
This is home to the UWI's and the region's leading institution for the education and training of media and communications practitioners. But the institute was not always in such auspicious surroundings. Initially known as MASCOM, the Caribbean Institute of Media and Communication was established 43 years ago in 1974, located in one of the old wooden buildings that housed World War II refugees on the Mona campus. A proverbial one-room schoolhouse was sheltered under ancient mango trees due east of our present location, but it was there that it all started with the delivery of a single diploma program in mass communication for Caribbean media practitioners.
Trainers and educators came from many countries, including Germany, the United Kingdom, and the United States, to join local luminaries to deliver courses to the first cohort of 31 students. Benefactors such as Friedrich Ebert Stiftung, FES, UNESCO, USAID, and local media houses joined the UWI in developing the region's first and still leading educational and training organization in the dynamic field of media and communication. Among local educators who imprinted their indelible mark on the Institute from the outset were Professor the Honorable Rex Nettleford and Professor Sir Roy Auger, who helped to ensure that technical prowess was always accompanied by a wider, deeper knowledge of our regional history and our cultural contexts. Courses such as History, Politics and Culture of the Caribbean, Media and Language, and Introduction to Sociology and Economics were compulsory parts of a rounded curriculum. Many other lecturers and leaders later also played their parts, including
Student internships and active engagement with the newsrooms and production facilities of then existing media houses were among the requirements for early students to supplement the limited technical resources at the time. Still later, under the watchful eye of then Principal Professor Leslie Robinson, a new purpose-built physical structure was erected on this very location in the late 1970s. Block by block, the new media training facility arose, with radio and television studios, a lecture room and offices, all intended to accommodate scores of students and a handful of full-time lecturers. The new building was opened by Prime Minister Michael Manley. It was the pride of the UWI and the Caribbean media community, jointly engaged in a process of upskilling of media practitioners as part of the decolonization enterprise.
the Institute acquired the moniker CARIMAC, compliments of one of its longest-standing directors, Professor Agri Brown, who also oversaw the modification in name from mass communication to media and communication in response to changing industry requirements and delivery content. From 31 students in a diploma program 43 years ago, CARIMAC today delivers 5 bachelor's degree programs and 4 master's degree programs, as well as the MPhil and PhD degrees. We also deliver a revised diploma program and a wide range of short, in-demand certificate courses and special research projects.
Currently, CARIMAC is home to close to 600 students distributed across all programs and from 2 of its locations, Mona and the UWI's Western Jamaica campus. Over the last 5 years, student numbers have doubled, programs have doubled, and there has been an expansion in self-financing activities. At WJC, CARIMAC provides the only 2 degree programs offered from the Faculty of Humanities and Education.
Professionally, CARIMAC now offers dedicated educational opportunities for digital animators, film and television producers and directors, radio station content producers and managers, print and online professionals, public relations, marketing and advertising specialists, and creators of digital design images. At the graduate level, the organization produces senior leaders in communication for social and behavior change, communication studies, telecommunications, and ICT policy making, and in integrated marketing communication. These educational and professional competencies
And Murphy continues to interfere, ladies and gentlemen. But of course, you understand the history, you understand the legacy, you appreciate the contribution, and you are a part of the transition. Can we have a round of applause for the effort, please? And for what it represents, the legacy that is CARIMAC. At this time, we will have the unveiling of the plaque. Of course, this plaque is against the side of the building, and we hope that from your seats you will be able to have a good vantage point. If you look right across there, you will see the blue ribbon. And we are asking Mr. Mel Blake, the longest current serving member of staff of CARIMAC. He taught me decades ago. And he is still with us. We ask him to come at this time. And he will be joined by a representative of the new cohort of students. She is actually a second-year student at CARIMAC, Miss Akira Patterson. As they represent the past and the future, symbolizing the transition. Thank you so much. And next we ask you to direct your attention to the front of the stage where we will have the new sign unveiled. We invite Professor Kawa to come forward and Professor Dunn. They will both do the honors. On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. The Caribbean School of Media and Communication.
Look like I taught her at CARIMAC. Good evening, everyone. I tell everyone that my school of music was CARIMAC, because at CARIMAC I learned how to communicate with people. And if art does not reach people, as the wonderful Dwayne Stevenson did earlier, then you're not doing nothing. Put your hands together for Dwayne. So we want to start with a blessing. I know Reverend Carlisle did a blessing earlier, but because the plaque is fresh, we want to touch it up a little bit. Jah is my health and my strength, so whom shall you fear? CARIMAC is a shield upon your right and your left hand. So of whom shall you be afraid? For Jah is your keeper. Jah is your light and your salvation. So whom shall you fear? He is your guide throughout Jamaica, the Caribbean, and the whole creation. So of whom shall you be afraid? For Jah is your keeper, and Jah is my keeper. CARIMAC, Jah is your keeper. Selah. You know, we call this medley the Big Ship Medley. And CARIMAC is like a big ship. coming through the Caribbean to move the children of the enslaved and the displaced into a new Jerusalem. So I want you to sing along with us. Run it. CARIMAC, you are born a winner. I was born a winner. CARIMAC, you're born a winner. I was born a winner. I want to hear you now. Big ship sailing on the ocean. Talk about like everyone know this song. Big ship sailing on the ocean. Big ship sailing on the ocean. We don't need no commotion. Big ship sailing on the ocean. Come on, Leo, talk to the people. Hold on. Sail and ready, you must hold on steady. We're moving up at lightning speed, yeah. Take a seat and wait till I'm ready. I'm coming, so hold on steady, yeah. CARIMAC sailing on the ocean. We don't need no commotion. CARIMAC sailing on the ocean. CARIMAC sailing on the ocean. Sailing on the locomotion. CARIMAC sailing on the ocean. I'm longing to see you. I want to know how you've been doing over yonder. I'm gonna catch this flight, and when I reach my destination, I hope you'll be smiling. I thought you'd drop me a line just to say hello, my dear. I'm doing fine. It doesn't matter anyway now, 'cause my love for you will never ever change. Oh no, 'cause when push comes to shove, everybody's gonna put the blame on me. When push comes to shove, everybody's gonna put the blame on me. Oh yes. Say I was born a winner, oh Lord, yeah. Say I was born a winner. No, we never switch, no, we never hitch, no, we never hitch, no. As we ever it's so steep and commits this beat on this we don't take that attack from snake in a glass. Try some paper, we take it to heart. Hate us attack, but the faith on the stop. But we still head straight to the top. From morning, we are hustle and put behind. When we work with a green or styling. From morning, hey, I say we say, we never ever change. Never change. So we never ever change. Careful of where you walk to, careful of where you part to, yeah, yeah, yeah. Careful of where you walk to, 'cause people will try to harm you, yeah, yeah. That's why you be careful, how you wait for you, 'cause nobody will leave them alone. You be careful, how they places you go. Be careful of the places you go. You be careful of your friends Thank you very much, Chairman. Thank you so much, Leo. Are you a winner? No, CARIMAC, your school, no, institute. Somebody asked me, so what is the difference? I said, all right, so you have a unit, then you have a department, then you have an institute, then you have a school. Then they say, so one school, I know an institute. They said, don't ask me no foolishness, talk to the people in my university. But a school is a bigger thing. Because you know, when you say big school, hello, nobody not come from country. When you pass common entrance, so that dates me. None of these are common entrance children. So when you pass common entrance, you never hear somebody say, hey, I go big school.
Big school.
All right, thank you for those who did go to our school, which you will say was a big school. Anyway, the last one we're going to run now, I need some dancing partners. Those of you who know me know that I need some dancing partners. Run the track, Ryan. Listen now, this is an old time dance, me darling. This is the way it goes, me darling. Jump and touch your feet. All right, so I'm gonna find my dancing partner now. Heel and toe polka, yes, heel and toe polka. Ay, ay, ay. Ay, 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 ay. Yes, people, you guys can dance, don't you? Talk to me, so you guys can dance? Me think so too. Here I have this class, please. Woo! So what, I can dance too? I hold you round your waist, me darling. You hold you round your waist, me darling. Jump and touch your heel. Jump and touch your toe. Heel and toe polka. Let's go. Heel and toe polka. All right, so shimmy now. Aye, 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 aye. Heel and toe polka. Me darling. Aye. So with the shoulder and go round. Heel and toe polka. Heel and toe. Heel and toe now. All right, so let the thing come in now. Aye, 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 aye. Heel and toe polka. Put your hands together for her. Hold your... This is the way it goes. All time something come back again. Heel and toe polka. Jump and touch your heel, may I say? Jump and touch your toe. All time something come back again. Heel and toe polka. Aye, 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 aye. Aye, 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 aye. Different vibes, you know. Aye, 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 aye. Heel and toe polka. Aye, aye, aye. Aye, 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 aye. Me darling, aye, 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 aye. Look at shoulder now. Heel and toe. Heel and toe. Put your hands together for her. No, this is done, Dr. Done. Banana. God bless you all.
Ladies and gentlemen, one more time for Nexus. And I know you enjoyed it. I don't have to ask. Let me list the people who were dancing. Apart from our guest speaker who was hauled from her chair, there's another Sonia Sims, graduate, dancing in the seat. I saw you. Then I saw Minna Israel dancing, and you didn't want to get up to make others see, but I saw you. Dr. Leafbun was dancing before she was pulled out in front. Graduate Delmaris White, Oddpem spurred you to come over. I saw you, and don't laugh. Alma Maki and I saw you too. Over on this side, graduate Pat Phillips. Almost didn't recognize you with a hairstyle, dancing away. But all in all, this is what it's about. It's about family, whether we were directly engaged as students or as faculty, or we are just friends. We are all CARIMAC family. And it's been a pleasure having you here for our time together. We now just want to ask that you continue to support us as you have been doing. But in particular, there are some persons who supported in special ways that we would like to draw attention to. And so, while we remind you, or inform you rather, that the Nexus season is coming up July 14 to 16. If you enjoyed it, then please go see them. It will be right here at the Philip Sherlock Center, and it is going to be called The Day the Music Died. That's July 14 to 16, Nexus, don't forget. While we want to thank them too, we're going to ask Mrs. Cheryl Dowse to come forward and bring the official vote of thanks. Now, we are so proud of Cheryl Dowse. She wasn't dancing, and no, she is not married to Hugh Dowse from Nexus. I think it's his brother that has the pleasure of the lady as his wife. But she is one of the first graduates of the Western Jamaica campus of CARIMAC, and she got first class honors, and she just did so well and continues to do well. Is it with the Sandals group? Not a particular property, but group. So please, one more time, welcome her to the microphone first, please.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is indeed an honor for me to be here and proudly representing the Western Jamaica campus. It is also an honor for me to share in this moment, this historical moment, as we transition to the distinction of being a school. Please allow me to acknowledge the full salutations earlier given, with special mention of Ms. Minna Israel, representing the UWI Vice Chancellor, and Professor Ishinkumba Kawa, representing the PVC and Principal of the University of the West Indies, Mona. But also permit me to acknowledge the cadre of UWI Mona CARIMAC past students who are in the audience with us this evening. And it would be remiss of me if I don't single out Mrs. Alma, Makien, Diane, and of course, my Facebook friend, who I've always been communicating with, and it's such a pleasure to meet you. Additionally, ladies and gentlemen, permit me, I can't stop repeating this, and bear with me. As a graduate of the Western Jamaica campus, I have to mention our acting director, Mr. Patrick Prendergast, who influenced me to join CARIMAC, to apply, and left me high and dry 3 months later, turned me over to a young man who is or was then just a shadow of the person he is today, Mr. Stephen Campbell, who is now the coordinator for the CARIMAC program at Western Jamaica campus. I've also had the privilege this evening of encountering a few of those lecturers who played such an integral part in my own development then, so I want to also acknowledge you as well. Lastly, but definitely not least, there is a lady in the audience, and she's behind the scenes tonight, who took a chance on me and gave me that opportunity to join this esteemed institution, now school. And I want to acknowledge her, because a lot of persons have lauded me for my accomplishments, but this lady took a chance on me when I did not have on paper what it took to get into CARIMAC. But she saw something and gave me that opportunity to join as a part-time student. Please, ladies and gentlemen, applaud with me, Dr. Corinne Barnes. I met her for the first time tonight, and allow me to also say I think I did her proud. Thank you very much, Dr. Barnes. For tonight's proceedings, the keynote speaker, Ms. Sonia Gill. After the introduction from Dr. White, I feel I missed out on something. Wordsmiths are always persons I look up to, and I wish I could have been in some of your classes. However, your speech tonight was on point. He promised that you are going to give us something to think on, and I'm sure that we all got something to think on. The issue of global content, networking, its aggregation and integration is playing out daily and with serious impact. As communicators in various sectors, whether it be public relations or in the media itself, we have a major role to play, and I am positive and I am confident that CARIMAC, Caribbean School of Media and Communication, remains relevant in guiding that process. Professor Upton Dunn, Director of CARIMAC, and the inspirational leader of the change and growth process among not only the staff, but the students at CARIMAC here in Kingston, but also I'm very, very pleased to say the Western Jamaica campus. Thank you for continuing to chart that course and believing in what it is that we do, and even beyond the institution itself, but trickling it down to the students. As a member of the CARIMAC School, Western Jamaica campus, you're always there when we need you, and thank you very much for your support and the guidance. All other special guests and invitees from the media industry, a lot of you in the audience are graduates of CARIMAC, the UWI academic community, and from other educational institutions, UTech, Edna Manley, CPTC, Northern Caribbean University, IUC. Thank you so very much for joining us. Thank you. Our entertainers for the evening, the UWI Pano Rhythm Steel Orchestra. I'm so happy that I got the chance to listen and enjoy your prowess. Thank you very much. Mr. Dwayne Stevenson, I think he has left, but every time we hear him, he gets better and better, and we thank him so much for taking the time to come and share with us. The Nexus Performing Group, led by one Mr. Hugh Dowse, thank you very much for being with us and sharing. A CARIMAC graduate, and we are proud to call you one of our own. Yes, my brother-in-law. And yes, we did have, as Paula so nicely and eloquently put it, some technical difficulties. Murphy showing us that at times he wants to run things, but that did not dampen the message. We got it loud and clear. And I have to thank all those who contributed to that effort, because for me, not having sat through and learned anything of that nature about the CARIMAC history, it taught me a lot, and I do appreciate that sharing. This slideshow producers were Diane Williams and Al McLaren. A round of applause for them again, please. Our Master of Ceremonies, Mrs. Paula Ann Porter Jones. A huge round of applause, please. Guided us expertly, and we are very thankful. The ushers, CARIMAC second and third year students. This is a taste, and we are very thankful for your support. And we know that in the future you're going to continue to make us very proud. Our caterers, thank you. Our beverage providers, Pepsi Cola, CPJ, Jerry and Neville, thank you so much for coming on board. Our security personnel, again members of the media, attendees all, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it has been a pleasure. And again, rooting for Western Jamaica campus, CARIMAC. Thank you, thank you, thank you all.
You see the kind of passion that this institution inspires and creates in persons that are engaged with it and involved with it and who learn from it. It will continue. The thanks have all been said. I will echo only once, because it really has been a pleasure sharing the occasion with you. I invite you not to leave immediately after, but to join us for refreshments over by where we had wines earlier. And I ask that you think on these two things that I will share as my closing words. The other John Maxwell, the American author and pastor, said that change is inevitable, but growth is optional. I think it is clear that there has been growth that we are very proud of. The thing with growth sometimes is that you can't direct it. You're not sure where it will lead to or where it will go. This other thought that I would like to close with, I couldn't find the author, but I thought it appropriate. We are, quote, falling into something different, but with a new capacity to be beautiful. Ladies and gentlemen, from all of us here at the Caribbean School of Media and Communication, good night.
Carry yourself down there, sir. just killing on a while. So give them 2 minutes and then you can go back to them. will just leave it down there. They will just leave it down there. Come back down. Boy, CARIMAC, just sue me.